The November rain had started before Marcus Wells finished his shift at the warehouse, the kind of cold, persistent drizzle that soaked through clothes and chilled bone deep. He sat in his aging pickup truck in the parking lot, engine running to keep warm, watching his 7-year-old daughter Lily color in the back seat. "Daddy, I'm hungry," she said without looking up from her picture of what appeared to be a purple dinosaur wearing a crown. "I know, baby. We're leaving in just a minute. I'm waiting for my paycheck to process to the bank account. Then we'll go grocery shopping." Marcus refreshed his banking app for the third time. The direct deposit always hit at 5 o'clock on Fridays, and it was 5:03. There. The balance updated. $847.52 for 2 weeks of work. After rent, utilities, and Lily's school expenses, that left about $200 for groceries and gas until the next check. He'd gotten better at the mental math over the 3 years since Lily's mother had left, since he'd become both provider and caregiver, juggling warehouse work with kindergarten drop-offs and parent-teacher conferences. It wasn't the life he'd imagined, but it was theirs, and he'd fought hard to keep them afloat. "Okay, Lilybug, grocery store time." The shop mart was crowded with Friday evening shoppers. Marcus grabbed a cart, and Lily climbed into the seat, still clutching her coloring book. He had a list organized by aisle, prices memorized, generic brands selected for maximum value. They were in the canned goods section when Marcus noticed the man. He stood near the end of the aisle, maybe 60 years old, wearing layers of mismatched clothing that marked him as someone living rough. His beard was unkempt, his hands dirty, but his eyes were sharp and clear as they scanned the shelves. He picked up a can of soup, checked the price, and put it back with an expression Marcus recognized, the calculation of whether you could afford to eat today. Marcus had been there. Not homeless, thank God, but close enough to understand that particular mathematics of desperation. The man noticed Marcus watching and quickly looked away, shuffling toward the exit with empty hands and hunched shoulders. "Daddy, why is that man so sad?" Lily asked, her voice carrying in the way children's voices do. "Shh, baby, that's not polite." "But he looks hungry, like I was hungry." Marcus glanced at his cart, pasta, sauce, chicken, vegetables, the building blocks of a week's worth of meals. Then he looked at the man disappearing toward the store entrance. "Stay right here, Lily. Don't move from this spot." Marcus jogged after the man, catching him near the automatic doors. "Excuse me, sir?" The man turned, defensive. "I wasn't stealing anything. I was just looking." "I know. Marcus hesitated, aware this could go wrong in so many ways. "Have you eaten today?" The man's defenses cracked slightly. "Why?" "Because I'm about to make dinner for my daughter and myself, and we always have leftovers. If you'd like to join us, you're welcome. It's nothing fancy, spaghetti and meatballs, but it's hot, and there's plenty." The man stared at him like he'd spoken a foreign language. "You're inviting me to dinner? You don't know me." "No, sir, I don't. But you look like you could use a meal, and I've got one to share. No strings attached. Just dinner." "Why would you do that?" Marcus thought about how to answer. "Because 3 years ago I was 2 paychecks away from being in your position. Someone helped me then. My landlord let me pay rent late without penalties. Said kindness was free but priceless. I've been trying to pay that forward ever since." The man's eyes grew wet. "I don't want charity. It's not charity. It's just neighbors sharing a meal." "My name's Marcus Wells. This is my daughter, Lily." He gestured back toward the aisle where Lily waved enthusiastically. You can call me James." The man's voice was rough with disuse or emotion. "Are you sure about this?" "Completely sure. My truck's in the lot. The blue Ford with the dent in the passenger door. Give me 20 minutes to finish shopping and we'll head to my place." Marcus returned to Lily, his heart pounding. He'd just invited a stranger, a homeless stranger, to their apartment. Was he being compassionate or reckless? But when he glanced back, James stood exactly where Marcus had left him, looking lost and grateful in equal measure, and Marcus knew he'd made the right choice. He added extra pasta and ground beef to his cart. plus a loaf of garlic bread he normally wouldn't splurge on. If you were going to feed someone, you fed them properly. The apartment Marcus rented was small, 2 bedrooms in a building that had seen better decades, but it was clean, warm, and theirs. James hesitated at the threshold, as if crossing it required permission he didn't have. "Come on in," Marcus said, ushering him inside. "Bathroom's down the hall if you want to wash up. Lily, you start your homework while I cook, okay? Can I show James my drawings first?" Marcus looked at James, who seemed overwhelmed by the simple domesticity of it all. "If James doesn't mind." "I'd like that very much," James said quietly. While Lily spread her artwork across the coffee table, narrating each piece with elaborate backstory, Marcus started dinner. He browned the ground beef, added sauce and spices, set water boiling for pasta. Through the kitchen doorway, he watched James sitting carefully on the edge of the couch, listening to Lily with the kind of attention that suggested he hadn't had a real conversation in a long time. "This one is a princess who's also a scientist," Lily explained. "Because Daddy says you can be anything you want if you work hard and believe in yourself." "Your daddy sounds like a wise man," James said. "He is. He takes care of me all by himself since Mommy left. He works really hard and sometimes he's tired, but he always makes time for me. That's what love looks like," he says. Marcus felt his throat tighten. He turned his attention back to the stove, stirring sauce with more vigor than necessary. 30 minutes later, they sat around Marcus's small dining table, a yard sale find he'd refinished himself. The spaghetti was simple but plentiful, the garlic bread warm, the salad fresh. James stared at his plate like it was a feast. "Please eat," Marcus encouraged. "There's plenty more." James picked up his fork with a hand that trembled slightly, took a bite, and closed his eyes. "This is delicious. I can't remember the last time I had a home-cooked meal." "How long have you been on the streets?" Marcus asked, then immediately regretted it. "Sorry, that's too personal." "It's all right. 8 months. Lost my job, then my apartment, then everything else just followed." James took another bite. "You don't think about how quickly it can happen until it happens to you." "What did you do? Before, I mean." James was quiet for a moment. "I worked in finance, managed portfolios, advised clients. I was good at it too. But I made some enemies, got forced out, and at 60 years old, nobody wants to hire you. Savings ran out faster than I expected. I'm sorry." "That's rough. Life is rough, but tonight, sitting at a table with good food and good company, it feels a little less so. Thank you, Marcus. And you too, Lily. This means more than you know." Lily beamed at him. "You can come back any time. Daddy always says our table has room for friends." After dinner, James helped with dishes despite Marcus's protests. They worked in comfortable silence, and Marcus found himself wanting to know more about this man who spoke like someone educated, who had careful manners despite his circumstances. "James, can I ask you something?" "Of course." "You said you worked in finance. High-level stuff?" "Very high level. I managed accounts worth millions, advised some of the wealthiest people in the city." James dried a plate carefully. "Seems like another lifetime now. What happened?" "I mean, you don't have to tell me, but I crossed someone powerful, refused to do something unethical, and they made sure I'd pay for it. Blackballed me in the industry, spread lies about my competence. By the time I realized what was happening, it was too late to stop it." James set down the plate. "I'm not looking for pity. I made my choices, but I appreciate you treating me like a person, not a problem." Marcus dried his hands on a towel. Everyone deserves to be treated like a person. When it was time for James to leave, Marcus walked him to the door. On impulse, he grabbed a jacket from the coat closet, a thick winter coat he'd bought at Goodwill but barely wore. "Here, it's supposed to get cold tonight. I've got another one." James held the coat like it was made of gold. "Marcus, I can't." "You can. Please." Marcus pressed it into his hands. "And listen, I work at Morrison Warehouse on 5th Street. If you're ever in the area around lunchtime, come by. I'll share my sandwich. It's not much, but it's everything, James said, his voice breaking. You've given me something I'd forgotten existed: hope, dignity, kindness from a stranger who had no reason to help. After James left, Marcus found Lily already in her pajamas, ready for their bedtime routine. I like James, she announced. He has sad eyes, but a kind smile. You're very perceptive, Lilybug. What's perceptive mean? It means you notice things other people miss. Marcus tucked her into bed. Are you okay that I invited James to dinner? Yeah. You always say we should help people when we can. James needed help, and we had spaghetti to share. She yawned. That's what neighbors do, right? Right. Marcus kissed her forehead. Sleep well, baby. That night, lying in his own bed, Marcus thought about James. About the thin line between stability and homelessness, about how quickly life could unravel, about the importance of seeing people's humanity instead of their circumstances. He fell asleep, hoping James had found somewhere warm to spend the night. Marcus woke Saturday morning to Lily jumping on his bed. Daddy! Daddy, wake up! There are fancy cars outside. Lily, it's... He checked his clock. 7 in the morning. Why are you awake? Because there are 5 black cars parked in front of our building and people in suits are getting out, and I think they're coming here. Marcus sat up, his mind foggy. 5 black cars? In front of their building? That made no sense. He went to the window and looked down at the street. Lily wasn't exaggerating. 5 black Lincoln Navigators were parked in a line, and men in dark suits were indeed exiting them, moving with the coordinated precision of security professionals. Marcus's stomach dropped. Had he invited a criminal to dinner? Was James running from something? Had Marcus put Lily in danger? Someone knocked on the door, 3 sharp raps that sounded official and vaguely threatening. Stay in your room, Lily, Marcus ordered, his protective instincts flaring. But Daddy, room, now, please. He approached the door, looking through the peephole. 2 men in suits stood in the hallway, but they didn't look aggressive. One held a briefcase, the other. Marcus blinked. The other was James, but not the James from last night. This James was clean-shaven, wearing an expensive suit, standing straight instead of hunched. He looked like a completely different person. Marcus opened the door slowly, keeping the chain lock engaged. Mr. Wells, the man with the briefcase said, my name is Robert Chen. I'm an attorney. May we come in? I promise we mean you no harm. In fact, quite the opposite. What's going on, James? James stepped forward, his expression apologetic and something else. Ashamed, maybe. Marcus, I owe you an explanation. May we come in? I know this looks alarming, but I need to talk to you. Against his better judgment, Marcus unlatched the chain and let them in. 2 more men in suits remained in the hallway. Security, clearly. In his small living room, these well-dressed men looked absurdly out of place. James sat on the same couch where he'd looked at Lily's drawings last night, but he carried himself completely differently now. Marcus, I wasn't entirely honest with you last night, James began. My name isn't James, it's James William Thornton, and I'm not homeless. Marcus felt anger flash through him. You lied to me? I brought you into my home, around my daughter. Please, let me explain. James Thornton held up his hands. Everything I told you about my past was true. I did work in finance. I did get forced out. I did lose everything, but that was 30 years ago. The attorney Chen opened his briefcase. Mr. Wells, James Thornton is the founder and CEO of Thornton Asset Management. He's worth approximately $2 billion. Marcus sat down heavily. What? 30 years ago, I was exactly where I told you I was. Blackballed, broke, homeless, Thornton said. I spent 2 years on the streets. 2 years where people looked through me, stepped over me, treated me like I was invisible. One man, a construction worker named Miguel Santos, invited me to dinner at his home, just like you did last night. And that act of kindness changed my life. Marcus's head spun. I don't understand. Miguel didn't just feed me. He helped me find work, vouched for me, loaned me money to get an apartment. He didn't have much, but he shared what he had. It gave me the foundation I needed to rebuild. Thornton's eyes were wet. I built my company on that principle, that people matter more than profit, that kindness compounds better than interest, that we're all one bad break away from needing help. Okay, but why were you in that grocery store pretending to be homeless? Because I never forgot those 2 years. And once a month I go out like I did last night, dressed down, looking rough, seeing how people treat me when they think I'm nobody. Most people ignore me. Some are cruel. Very rarely someone like you shows basic human decency. Chen pulled papers from his briefcase. Mr. Thornton has been looking for people like you, Mr. Wells. People who help without expecting anything in return. People who see human beings instead of problems. People who understand what truly matters. I don't want anything from you, Marcus said, standing. I invited you to dinner because it was the right thing to do. I don't need a reward for being decent. I know, Thornton said quietly. That's exactly why I'm here. Marcus, I watched you last night. I saw how you are with Lily. Patient, loving, present. I saw your apartment, your careful budgeting, the way you live simply, but with dignity. I heard Lily talk about how hard you work, how you always make time for her, how you teach her that kindness matters. What's your point? My point is that you're raising a remarkable child while struggling financially. That you're one emergency away from the poverty line, yet you still shared your food with a stranger. That's the kind of character that should be rewarded, not punished. Chen handed Marcus a folder. Mr. Thornton would like to offer you a position at Thornton Asset Management, Director of Community Investment. Your job would be to identify and fund programs that help people in need. Starting salary is $150 Zodo dollars annually, with benefits, retirement matching, and performance bonuses. Marcus stared at the papers. $150,000. That was life-changing money. That was Lily's college fund and a better apartment, and not having to choose between groceries and electricity. This is crazy, he whispered. It's not charity, Thornton said firmly. I need someone with real-world experience managing programs for people in crisis. Someone who understands what it's like to struggle. Someone who won't forget the human cost behind every statistic. That's you. Marcus, I don't have a college degree. I work in a warehouse. You have something more valuable than a degree. Perspective, compassion, and integrity. Everything else can be learned. Lily appeared in the doorway, unable to contain her curiosity any longer. Daddy, what's happening? Marcus looked at his daughter, at her curious face and hopeful eyes, at the future he could give her if he said yes. Mr. Thornton is offering Daddy a new job, baby. Will you still have time to help with my homework? I'll make time, always. Then you should take it. Lily walked over to Thornton. Are you really James from last night? I am. You look different when you're not sad. Thornton smiled. I feel different. Your father reminded me why I do what I do, why kindness matters, why we should never forget where we came from. 3 months later, Marcus stood in his new office on the 20th floor of the Thornton building, looking out over the city. It still felt surreal, the salary, the title, the responsibility of managing a $50 million community investment fund. But more surreal was the impact. In 3 months, they'd funded housing programs, job training initiatives, food banks, and family support services. Marcus had hired people who'd experienced homelessness and poverty, building a team that understood the communities they served. Lily adjusted to their new apartment. Still modest by some standards, but safe, warm, with a real bedroom for her and a study where Marcus could work from home when needed. She attended a better school, had new clothes that fit, never went to bed worried about whether they could afford dinner. But Marcus made sure she remembered where they'd come from. Every Saturday, they volunteered at the homeless shelter. Every month, they invited someone who needed a meal to their table. Every day, Marcus taught her that circumstances change, but character shouldn't. That kindness should flow freely regardless of your bank balance. Thornton became a mentor and friend. He told Marcus stories about his years on the streets, about the people who'd helped and those who'd hurt, about Miguel Santos, who'd passed away years ago, but whose impact lived on in everything Thornton built. "You're doing good work, Marcus," Thornton said one afternoon in Marcus's office. "The programs you've funded are changing lives. I'm just trying to be like Miguel, like you, like the people who helped me when I needed it." That's the point. Kindness creates a chain reaction. You helped me, so I could help you, so you could help thousands more. One act of compassion can change the world if we let it compound. Marcus thought about that night in the grocery store, about the choice he'd made to see a person instead of a problem, such a small decision with such enormous consequences. "James, can I ask you something?" "Anything." "Why do you still go out like that, once a month, pretending to be homeless? You don't need to test people anymore. You found what you were looking for." Thornton was quiet for a moment. "Because I never want to forget. The moment I start taking this life for granted, the moment I stop remembering what it's like to be invisible, I become part of the problem. Those monthly reminders keep me honest, keep me focused on what matters. Does it ever get easier? Seeing how people treat you when they think you're nobody? No. But it makes the rare kindness even more precious. People like you restore my faith in humanity, Marcus. You remind me that good people exist at every economic level, that poverty doesn't make you less, and wealth doesn't make you more, that we're all just humans trying to get through life, and we're better off when we help each other." A year after that November night, Marcus organized a community dinner, a Thanksgiving feast for anyone who needed a meal. Hundreds of people filled the community center Thornton had funded, sharing food and stories and gratitude. Lily, now 8, helped serve plates alongside Marcus, chattering with guests about their favorite foods and their drawings and their hopes for the future. She'd inherited Marcus's ability to see people, to connect without judgment, to offer dignity along with assistance. Thornton attended, sitting with families and listening to their stories. Marcus watched him from across the room and saw the young man who'd spent 2 years on the streets, who'd been saved by kindness and built a fortune on paying it forward. An older woman approached Marcus, tears in her eyes. "Thank you for this meal, for this program. My grandson and we've been staying in our car, but your housing coordinator found us an apartment. We move in next week. I'm so glad we could help. It's more than help. It's hope. It's dignity. It's someone looking at us and seeing human beings worth saving." She squeezed his hand. "You're an angel." "I'm just someone who got lucky, who got helped when I needed it. I'm just trying to do the same for others." After dinner, as they cleaned up, Lily tugged Marcus's sleeve. "Daddy, that lady called you an angel. Are you?" "No, baby. I'm just a person trying to be kind." "But Mr. Thornton said kindness is the most important thing, and you're really good at it." Marcus knelt down to her level. "Do you remember last year, when we invited James to dinner? The night the fancy cars came?" "Yes, do you remember why I invited him?" Lily thought about it. "Because he was hungry and we had food to share?" "That's right. And that one small choice, sharing one meal, changed our whole life. Changed Mr. Thornton's life too, reminded him why his work matters, changed the lives of everyone we've helped this year." Marcus brushed hair from her face. "That's the power of kindness, Lily. You never know how far it will reach. So we should always be kind? Always. Not because of what we'll get back, but because it's right. Because people matter. Because we're all connected, and helping others makes us all stronger." Lily hugged him tight. "I love you, Daddy. You're the best person I know." "I love you too, Lilybug, and you're the best reason I have to try to be good." Thornton joined them, his expression warm. "Beautiful event, Marcus. Miguel would be proud." "I hope so. I'm trying to honor what he started." "You're doing more than that. You're multiplying it." Thornton looked around the community center. "Every person here tonight will remember this kindness. Some of them will pay it forward." The chain continues, growing stronger with each link. Marcus thought about chains, not the kind that bound, but the kind that connected. A chain stretching from Miguel to Thornton to Marcus to Lily to hundreds of people whose lives had changed because of intersecting kindness. "Thank you," Marcus said, "for that night, for the job, for believing in me. Thank you for reminding me what matters, for being exactly who you are, a good man trying his best, helping where he can, raising a daughter to be kind in a world that doesn't always reward kindness." They stood together watching Lily help an elderly man to his table, chatting with him about his life, making him laugh. She was 7, but she already understood what many adults never learned, that everyone deserves to be seen, to be heard, to be treated with dignity. 5 years later, Marcus stood on a stage at a community fundraiser, looking out at an audience of donors and advocates and people who'd been helped by the programs he'd built. "5 years ago," he began, "I was a warehouse worker living paycheck to paycheck, raising my daughter alone, trying to keep us afloat. One night, I invited a homeless man to dinner. The next day, 5 black cars stopped outside my house, and my life changed forever." The audience laughed, having heard versions of this story in news articles and interviews. But the real change didn't come from the job or the salary or the opportunities that followed. The real change came from remembering what I already knew, that kindness matters, that we're all one bad break away from needing help, that the measure of our humanity is how we treat people who can't do anything for us. Marcus paused, gathering his thoughts. "I've spent 5 years working with James Thornton, learning from him, trying to live up to the standard he set. And the most important lesson he taught me is this: wealth isn't measured in dollars. It's measured in impact, in lives changed, in dignity restored, in hope renewed." He gestured to the screens behind him, showing pictures of families in new homes, kids in new schools, people in new jobs, all beneficiaries of the programs they'd funded. "These are our returns on investment, not profit margins, but people thriving. That's real wealth. And it all started because someone chose kindness over indifference." The audience applauded, and Marcus saw Thornton in the front row, his eyes bright with emotion. Beside him sat Lily, now 12, already volunteering with the programs her father managed, already understanding that with privilege comes responsibility. After the event, Thornton approached Marcus with a proposal. "I'm getting older, Marcus. 75 next month. I've been thinking about succession planning. You're not going anywhere anytime soon. Maybe not. But when I do, I want someone leading this company who understands its mission, who lives its values, who won't forget where we came from or who we serve." Thornton extended his hand. "I want you to be my successor, Marcus. CEO of Thornton Asset Management when I retire." Marcus stared at him. "James, I'm not qualified. You're the most qualified person I know. Not because of credentials, but because of character. Because you see people. Because you never forgot what it's like to struggle. Because you'll protect this company's soul while growing its impact. I don't know what to say. Say yes. Say you'll continue what Miguel started, what I've tried to build, what you've already been doing. Say you'll teach the next generation that business can be a force for good, that profit and purpose aren't mutually exclusive, that kindness creates more value than greed ever could." Marcus thought about that November night 6 years ago, about the choice he'd made in a grocery store, about the chain of kindness that had led to this moment. "Yes," he said. "I'll do my best to honor this legacy." They shook hands, and Marcus felt the weight of responsibility settle over him, but also the lightness of purpose, the joy of knowing his work mattered, the satisfaction of building something that would outlast him. Lily ran up, bouncing with 12-year-old energy. "Daddy, did Mr. Thornton ask you? You knew about this. He asked my permission first. Said he wouldn't offer unless I thought you could handle it." "And what did you say?" "I said you're the kindest, hardest working person I know, and if anyone can do it, you can." She hugged him. "Plus, I told him I'd help. I'm going to business school someday, and then I'll work with you. We'll be a team." Marcus held his daughter close, this remarkable person he'd raised on his own, who'd learned compassion from watching him, who understood that success meant nothing if it didn't serve others. "A team," he repeated. "I like that." That night, back in their apartment, bigger now but still modestly furnished because Marcus couldn't shake his warehouse worker practicality, he tucked Lily into bed. "Dad, can I ask you something?" "Always." "Do you ever think about that night? When you invited James to dinner?" "All the time." "Do you think he was testing you?" Marcus considered this. "Maybe, but I don't think the test was for him. I think it was for me, to see if I'd do the right thing when it cost me something. When I had to choose between keeping what little I had or sharing it with someone who needed it more. And you chose to share." "I did. Why?" "Because someone once told me that kindness is free but priceless, that we should help people when we can, that we're all connected, and lifting others up lifts us all." He smoothed her hair. "And because I wanted to be the kind of person worth looking up to, the kind of father who taught you through actions, not just words." Lily smiled. "You did good, Dad." "We did good, Lilybug, together." He kissed her forehead and turned off the light, leaving her door cracked like he'd done since she was small. In the living room, Marcus stood at the window looking down at the street where 5 black cars had once parked, where his life had changed in ways he never could have imagined. One act of kindness, one invitation to dinner, one choice to see a person instead of a problem. That's all it had taken. And now, years later, that choice had rippled outward, touching thousands of lives, creating opportunities, restoring dignity, proving that compassion wasn't weakness, but the strongest force in the world. Marcus Wells had been a warehouse worker trying to keep his daughter fed. Now he was CEO designate of a multi-billion-dollar company. But the thing he was proudest of wasn't the title or the salary or the success. It was that he'd stayed true to himself, that he hadn't let wealth change his values, that he'd taught his daughter kindness mattered more than money, that when he'd seen someone hungry, he'd shared his meal. And that simple choice had changed everything. For him, for Thornton, for Lily, for thousands of people they'd helped. One dinner, 5 black cars, a lifetime of impact. That was the power of kindness. That was the wealth that truly mattered. And Marcus Wells would spend the rest of his life proving it.